Alright, let's look at a pretty good paper here. It's not perfect, but it's got a lot of the right elements to make it not just a workable paper, but a paper that excelled. First of all, just on a top note, you notice that the header is correct. Got the name, the instructor, the course, and the date in the correct format of date, month, year, no commas. Very good. We've got a header that is in the document itself, where it will repeat every page with the name and the page number. All the lines are double spaced. We have the title here, and it is capitalized correctly. It's not bolded, it's not underlined, it's just the way it needs to be. Okay, first of all, let's talk about what's right in this introductory paragraph. You've got the intricate detail used by Edgar Allan Poe in The Cask of Amontillado was used to build suspense and immerse the reader in the story. That is a thesis. That is what the author is using to answer the prompt. The most critical task that a student has when writing an essay, especially a literary analysis essay in Comp 2, is to make sure that the thesis that you put in your paper is going to answer the assignment prompt. The most common issue for students in Comp 2 is to write about the story, to comment on the story, to summarize the plot of the story, but not to answer the assignment prompt. The assignment prompt is the most important piece because it's the question that's being asked, and the thesis statement is what answers that question. The thesis statement is always going to be direct. It is going to be an opinion because it's something you have to prove, but it has to go directly to that assignment prompt. And see what a great job this student did. The prompt asked the student to analyze detail. So what you got here is this student says the intricate detail was used to build suspense and immerse the reader in the story. Not only is he going to talk about detail, he's going to talk about it in light of the entire work, and that's what the prompt asked him to do. So that's fantastic. Just a few quibbles here. Misspelled that. That's supposed to be an A. But quotation mark is wrong. This commas go inside quotation marks. Let's see what else we have. Looking good. This is interesting. Hey, this student makes a really good point here when he says he's elaborating more on the detail and how it creates suspense and a sense of foreboding, but then he contrasts that with the fact that Montresor really doesn't detail any of the offenses that Fortunato supposedly had wielded against him. It's interesting that we're hearing the story from Montresor's point of view, yet he provides no detail whatsoever about what Fortunato had done to him, but we get plenty of detail on how he's going to put Fortunato to death. And the writer here says there is no detail as to the natures of the offenses that Fortunato has offended against Montresor, except that the final offense, insult, was a catalyst that caused Montresor to concoct this horrific plan. That's just fantastic. And he keeps talking about the detail. And he keeps talking about how it relates to Fortunato. Okay. Minor point here, that's just one S. And one other thing, since this story is the only story that's the basis of this essay, you don't have to put the author's name because it will be the only author in the works cited page. So all you need is the page number. Now if you had more than one source, you would have to put the author's page number either there in the parenthetical citation or somewhere in the text. Okay, let's see about down here. I'll go down a little bit more. Okay, we're going to go down a little bit here. Montresor, knowing Fortunato prides himself on his connoisseurship in wine, invented just the apple to tempt Fortunato with. It's a pretty neat way of terming that, tying that to the story of the Garden of Eden, the calculated manner in which Montresor, let's get rid of that, waits for the right moment to strike. Now that is a sentence fragment. See, if you notice, this paper can stand out for doing a great job of throwing out a thesis and supporting that thesis, but making a lot of grammatical errors. The grammatical errors will not count against you nearly as much as not having a solid thesis, because that's the whole point, is to answer the assignment prompt and support it. But you do get penalized for grammatical and mechanical errors. Okay. Fix that. Okay, right here I made a note. This is where the author has Montresor being concerned about Fortunato's cough. This is where I left a note for the writers, like, why are you talking about this? How does this piece talk about, okay, what we're talking about here is Fortunato's cough concerning Montresor. What does this have to do with the analysis of detail? How does this help support analysis of detail? Okay. Okay, what we have here is a little bit more on the elaboration of the suspense, and that was one of the aspects of details that the author wanted us to take note of. This isn't needed. You don't have to put a title for the author. Poe gives such an account of the descent into the cellar that the reader can visualize the stairs that Fortunato and Montresor walked down to the damp and dark cellar that awaited them, where nitre lined the walls. Okay, that's not a quote, so we don't need that. Skeletons were piled, and the air smelled of the death of all the current inhabitants of the catacombs. Okay, you know, what the author is doing great here is providing those details that he said were important. He is piling on all of these details that help illustrate this visualization that he said was so important. I don't know why he stopped the paragraph there, because this piece goes right after that. Okay. Also, with the details, he points out that the reason for this visualization being so important is that we also get more exposition in the story. For example, it gives Montresor a chance to give a brief family overview explaining the large number of skeletons. And it also gives him an opportunity to give a few hints to the plan. So these details, what the author is saying here is, these details are important. Without coming out and just saying these details are important, he's actually using the details and showing how those details help develop the story. That's what we're looking for. All right, let's go down toward the end. Look at this conclusion down here. Using the detailed description of the descent into the catacombs allows the suspense to build as the reader finally realizes the terrible fate that awaits Fortunato. So the details helped suspense. Had he not described every aspect of the journey, the reader wouldn't have realized the extent of Montresor's evil, the planning, waiting, and finally the horrific demise of the victim. So that's awesome. He's summarizing how this detail is so critical to the suspense in the story. Now, he should have also noted how the detail helped develop the exposition. In other words, just the basic telling us what happened in the story. But this, if he's going to put anything, this is exactly what he said he was going to do in his thesis statement. So you see how critical it is for you to have a thesis statement that answers the assignment prompt, and then you support and elaborate that thesis statement. And then at the end of your paper, you say, hey, I told you I was going to prove this, and here it is. This is what I've done for you. That's what we're looking for. Okay, one last thing. We're going to talk about the works cited page. There are just a few little things to look at. Again, this writer did a really admirable job, but it by no means is it perfect. That's okay. Over here, we need to make sure that we indent, because MLA asks us to. And look, he spelled Allen right there. This is right, works cited. Okay. If you put works cited, that's fine, because that's really mostly what you do anyway. All the requisite pieces are here, except for that should be underlined or italicized. You can get this from your teacher. Okay. Everything else looks good. If you have any doubts whatsoever about how to do MLA, just Google MLA Al Purdue, and there's a huge site. You don't even have to buy the MLA book. Just Google this, and it'll give you all the details. And if you have specific questions about your works cited page or your in-text citations, just email your instructor. Just let them know, hey, I need some help with this. Okay. And notice that the last thing, that the works cited page is on its own page, and that the works cited entry is not numbered. I don't know who teaches works cited entries being numbered, but that's wrong. They are never numbered. Never, 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 never. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gives you some ideas for your own paper. And if you have any questions, by all means, email your instructor when you get a chance. Thank you.